All you Morse. Wait, no, it's not. It's me. Yeah.
This is going to be a great show.
Yes, it is. Good morning, everybody. I'm gonna play the next one, but hell with it. We're just gonna rock and roll. Welcome, and let's do this. Morris, it's all you, brother.
Good morning, folks.
This is gonna be a fun day.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a great weekend. Donnie had a great weekend.
Oh, I had a great night.
And we're all going to recover this morning. Hey, it's Growth Mode Live. It's Monday morning. It's 8 o'clock. It's time to kick it off and get moving here. So, guys, let's do this thing. What happened this weekend? Donnie, you alive?
Yeah, I am alive. We got a new critter on the farm. We got a new chameleon. That is cool as shit. It's blue as all get out. What the hell was that?
Sorry. Right into the microphone. That was awesome.
Right. But we got a new chameleon and we named it Mad Eye Moody. So
what is Mad Eye Moody?
I'm about to punch you in the face. How do you not know who Mad Eye? You really don't know who Mad Eye Moody is?
No.
Wow.
Harry Potter. He's a dude
Mad
with
Eye.
the
patch. I thought it was like some crazy lady that instead of calling herself Maddie, called herself Mad Eye. I didn't think Mad Eye. I thought Mad Eye was MADI. Got it.
You're my hero.
Gosh damn it. Who was the one drinking last night?
Right? So, Keith, how'd you and Scott do out there at the swap?
It was great, man. And the best weekend we've ever had out there. It was busy, overcast. It got into the 90s, but we had started off with 3 fans in our unit, and Scott went over. They had some fan company had a clearance sale, and he bought this little bitty kick-ass fan that saved our asses. So nice. It was amazing.
Nice,
absolutely amazing.
Scott finally sold some of his flags, which I know has been a big thing. I don't know why those things don't sell way more rapid than they do.
Well, I think it's location, right? You're in a flea market. Flags are $450, and most of the people walking through there probably don't have that in their wallet. So, but it's funny is when the people do walk up that are pulling out their credit cards and stuff, then they tend to spend quite a bit. So we sold all 3 of his flags, which was awesome.
I was just going to make the assumption that since Donnie wasn't there, that he was the issue.
There's that.
Fair point. I will say it's the first weekend I can remember everything clearly without clouds and,
that's because I wasn't there.
So we took 1 bottle of whiskey and half of it came back. That's not normal.
Yeah, that's not a thing. Good morning, Jeremy. Yeah, this is why you need me there.
We need they need you or they need AA there. One of the two. I
don't know. Look at that. Hey, that's our cousin. Look at that. No, but it was a good weekend, man. We did all kinds of crap around the farm. Freaking sold some chickens. And
I have a question.
I
have a question. On the farm, do we raise anything besides animals? I mean, is there corn or sorghum or?
I was like, that's a loaded question. That is a loaded question. No, I mean we have hobby crops, in our garden that we raise just for ourselves, but no crops of any sort to put out there. So it's all critters.
So is this a farm or a ranch, or does it matter?
For us, it's a hobby farm. We do sell shit off of there, just not crops. But it doesn't have to be crops to be a farm. I mean, it can be animals. I mean, hell, Kevin had a massive freaking farm growing up. I guess he still has a massive farm. His parents do. Do y'all do crops, Kevin? I don't remember.
Yeah, we did crops. Wheat, corn, soybeans, alfalfa, oats.
How many head of cattle? I forget.
About 150 to 200 normally.
And then how many head of is it head of hogs? Is that still the same thing?
That varied if we were feeding pigs out or not at the time. But we had our own. We had probably 36 sows that we were rotating through the farrowing barn.
Well, that's great. Well, we were gonna, process a pig for 4th of July, and it's a good thing we didn't, because she just had what, 6 babies?
Babies, yeah, 6 babies.
We had no idea she was prego.
That would have done Elizabeth in.
We were gonna, yeah.
She would have been off
last weekend
eating any meat ever again.
Nah, she wouldn't have been that bad. I mean, but
yeah, this is not one of the ones that she's gotten attached to or named or anything.
Right. So
that would have been terrible to cut her open and find.
Yeah,
those babies. It's about
they're good.
So now we have one of them did not make it. Is born without eyes, which is crazy, but did not make it. So the other 5 are doing really well. So now we've got 5 more to.
And this pig is not one that we've been around a whole lot and touched, so it's kind of touch and go getting in there to check on the damn sow, the babies, and she doesn't necessarily want you around too much. Her mama doesn't.
Speaking of sows, at the flea market this weekend, we saw quite a few, and there wasn't a ranch there, Morris.
Wait, are we still talking about pigs, or are we talking about?
I don't answer that question, Keith.
No, please don't.
Well, no, I'm talking about down the hill. They were selling animals down there. What are you guys talking about?
Got it.
The guy with the fainting goats.
Yeah,
he was there. So we didn't make him make the goats faint again.
Last time we were all there, we actually made him do the goats really faint? And he fucking
the guy brought out an umbrella. And stuck it behind him and popped an umbrella, and the goats just fall over.
I've always wanted someone to have some fainting goats and then some of the screaming goats at the same time.
No. The neighbor has a screaming goat.
Oh, it sounds terrible. Like somebody like.
I swear to God, I came running out of the cabin one morning because I thought somebody was dying.
I came around the corner and literally we thought there was somebody yelling help the entire freaking time.
Yeah,
it is terrible.
It's
creepy.
Terrible.
Really creepy. So
I grew up in Birmingham, Alabama. I thought I was in the country. Shit, I don't know nothing. That's
wait, we knew that how long we know each other, Morris?
Jeez, Pete.
Morris I was in Alabama. We had 3 rabbits. We were on a ranch.
That's right. That's it for sure. Donnie, teach us about strategy, please. Get us out of this conversation.
For sure. So, the biggest thing that I continue to wrap my head around is your business is a machine. And I think a lot of people treat their business like it's almost a person, like it almost has emotions and feelings and the likes. And it was actually Bob Russo that sent me a text, and he said, the machine is running. And I went, shit, I have been in this entire time almost kind of giving the company a vibe, an energy, something, not looking at it as a machine. But as I look further at the company as a whole and go, okay, this is a machine that's running. Now we need to figure out, how do we do the maintenance on the machine, right? How do we feed it? How do we fuel it? How do we do the PMs? How do we do all the things that it needs to happen? And it really changed the way I was thinking about the company as a whole, because now the business becomes more of a system and a process versus anything else. And so I think as I'm looking at strategy and I'm looking at the company and what is going on with it, and I'm looking at, cool, from a marketing standpoint, how are we getting people into the machine? What are the things we're doing outbound that are bringing people in? And right now, the executive team as a whole are all doing these really killer LinkedIn reach outs that we're hitting. Well, I asked Keith and Kevin. I know me and Jess are hitting about 1 out of 10 reach outs right now, are getting us into a sales conversation, which is really, really killer. I don't know what the company's doing as a whole. We'll have that conversation later today. But, it's what are you doing outbound that's feeding the machine, that's bringing things into the machine? And then what are you doing to maintain the machine overall? So what are the process and systems internally that are keeping the machine running and going? And what we continue to find that is, if there's not a system or process attached to it, then it's not duplicatable, it's not replicatable, therefore it doesn't stay running. And we're constantly, turning different knobs and different things to make sure that things continue to go. And for me personally, I'm not a process or system oriented guy. So this has been a lot of work to get a lot of the system, going and continuing, because I will create a system, but then I won't follow the damn thing. It's like, here, let's do this, and then turn it on, and then I suck at actually following it. So I have to have other people, come in and twist the knobs, or it has to be automated. And, a cool exercise we did the other day was go through and put together the entire workflow or the client flow, client journey of everybody coming into the company and how we're putting them where. And then of course we gave it all to Kevin and said, all right, fucker, build all this shit out so that
By tomorrow.
Right. But we also asked, hey, how long would it take? And he set his own deadline, which makes it more funny, to make that happen. So, but I think a lot of people are looking at their business more from an emotional state of, this has to pay my bills, this has to do this, versus looking at it like a machine. And the more you can take the emotion out of business, the more your business will actually function properly. And even sales becomes simpler when you start thinking about it from a machine standpoint. People buy extremely emotionally, but when you sell emotionally, you're going to very much struggle on having some real conversations, because you'll put your own money in the prospect's pocket, and whatever head trash you're dealing with money immediately becomes everybody else's same head trash. It's not, it's just your way of thinking when you're talking to them. So I'm now looking at the company as a whole of, all right, what is our entire process? What is our entire system? How do we replicate, duplicate, and do the different things along the way? And I think that as we have continued to grow the business, the right people continue to step up and do different parts of the business. So like having Jessica come in, and Jessica literally broke our entire system, and we had to rebuild the entire model around the things she was doing. As now we've brought her up as our national director as our director of training, to literally get a lot of the things put in place. How do we take somebody who doesn't know about Success Champions, bring them into the system, build out a chapter, build out their groups, and then expand and grow their business along that entire process? And it's wild watching the entire system, continue to function and grow. So I think the biggest thing throughout it all is look at your business as a machine, figure out what it takes to fuel the damn thing, figure out what it takes to keep it running. And then, of course, look at it from the perspective of what's the lifetime value of the clientele that you're working with. And that's been a lot of fun to build and keep it freaking going. So it's been really cool to look at it from a...
I've got a question for you.
Bring it.
In the world of chemicals and chemical processes, back in my engineering days, there were a zillion different things we would test and look at. What's the makeup of this stream of liquid flowing in this point in the thing, and there were like a bazillion different measures that we would look at to see how the machine was working. There are too many things to look at. And I think that's true in business too. There are too many things to look at. What are the key things you look at in your business to know whether or not you're doing the right things and it's going in the right direction?
I'll answer that with, what are the things we looked at first that were the wrong things? We kept looking at number of members as kind of our overall KPI and how well we're doing. And that was the wrong thing to look at. We weren't looking at things like attrition. How often were we turning over clientele? We weren't looking at lifetime value. We just kept looking at growth numbers and nothing behind it. So some of the things that I'm looking at now in particular are, all right, on the front end, meetings with people who can say yes. How often are we getting into meetings with decision makers? We're looking now at attrition rates. how often is it turnover? How often are we losing clients? We're looking at lifetime value now, and how long are we keeping it? Like on our dashboard, Kevin put a, what is our lifetime value of a, client? And we're looking at growth more year over year and where we're going versus that one number. And for the longest time, I looked at the one number, which was how many members do we have, in the system. And that really made me, I should say, think very small, because we weren't looking at the overall development of everything. We were looking at just this one thing. And at one point, I would say Kevin and I were looking at a spreadsheet of a whole bunch of numbers that did not fucking matter. We were looking at YouTube subscribers, podcast downloads, and a whole bunch of numbers that weren't necessarily leading to revenue. So now that we're more client focused and client centric, we can see and feel the growth overall. So look more internal at the numbers versus the external numbers, and look at the things that you can actually control. Does that answer your question, Morris?
It does. The question that leads me to is, does that depend on the season of your business? In other words, when you're a brand new startup, it would seem like number of members would be something you'd want to look at if you're just
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that, because if you're year one in business, you're going to be a business whore. I mean, that's all there is to it. You're going to say yes to everything because you got to get enough revenue coming in to, pay your bills and the likes. But as the season goes on, you start hitting years 3 to 5, you really got to start looking at different metrics inside of your business and start looking at things from a completely different perspective. Year 1, 2, maybe 3, you're still trying to figure out what the hell the business actually is and what it is you're actually going to do. It's not until you get after, I think, year 3 where the business really becomes something and you start going, okay, now how do we really turn the screws on this thing and what levers do we pull?
Yeah.
I think we're going to look at some different metrics and KPIs coming into the next year, but because a lot of it's going to be more focused on, what's the number of presidents versus the number of members? What are the activities and levers we got to pull to bring them more in? And then the next season will be, what's the number of territory leaders coming in, and what levers do we pull to pull them in?
Well, you just made a very good point, though. You look at all these numbers in these things, they're great, and it's wonderful. Wow, look at that. Isn't that a wonderful number? But shouldn't it be something that you can do something about? Well, you said it has to be something you have control over, right?
Yeah, it's got to be a lever you can pull. And I keep looking at as all the things we're doing, and whether if it's from a business development perspective, is I can control the number of podcasts I get on. I can control the number of social, media posts and things I can put out there. I can control the number of conversations I'm getting into on threads, which is something we should have talked about in the opening of this. Anybody else excited for the Elon Musk and Zuckerberg freaking showdown? Dude, I'm having so much fun watching two billionaires fucking go at each other. It's the greatest thing on the planet right now. I mean, we all have these regular people problems. You got two billionaires fucking, playing tetherball on the playground.
I've got this picture in my mind of them two either bitch slapping each other all day long. If it gets more than that, then that's a bonus, I guess.
Right. I want to see them in the
Exactly.
UFC and just throwing down, because, billionaire problems, just funny to me. Good morning, Connie. So, but yeah, no, on the scale, on the system side of things, you got to find the things that you can control and adjust. You got to find the levers that you can actually pull. And we continue to explore what are those different levers overall.
Yeah, I think that makes all the difference in the world, is minimizing the things you're looking at and then making sure the things you're looking at are something that really matters.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Make a difference. They're too many numbers. It's so easily to get bogged down into all the different things, isn't
it? I think it's easier to get caught up in your business versus working on your business. I think often you can find yourself doing a whole bunch of shit that you shouldn't be doing. And to that point, one of the biggest exercises Jerry McNamara's got me doing is, tracking what are the activities I'm doing up to noon each day, what are the activities I'm doing from noon to 4 each day, and really looking at where I'm spending my time. And it's kind of fascinating to really look at the hours and days of when you're doing stuff and then going, all right, am I spending my time in the right arenas? If I'm not, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And I'm still so amazed how often fucking Canvas shows up on my damn schedule. I really got to throw that program in the trash, even though I love using it. So,
are you a closet designing artist kind of person, Donnie?
Oh, Canva is one of my favorite tools on the planet. I love all that shit. Graphic design, artists, all that stuff. Freaking love it. I need to get my ass out of it more. But friggin' love doing it.
So if you need a logo, we should call Donnie. Is that?
Yeah. I would love to see his logo design. So, Kevin, speaking about two billionaires bitch slapping, I got another pitch slap this morning for another franchise. I think I'm up to like 17 in 3 weeks.
17.
Somebody really wants me to open a damn franchise of doing something. So, but I know, Kevin, you want.
Oh, we have no audio out of you, Kevin.
It had turned off that we didn't sneeze right in the microphone again.
Coughing. Yeah, I'm still fighting this cold.
Oh no.
So yeah, I haven't gotten any franchise ones lately, but I got one the other day that started off, "Hi Kevin, it's interesting to see all the things going on at Time on Target." I'm like, what things are going on at Time on Target?
That was it? That was the whole thing?
Well, it started that, and I'm like curious. Have you been watching this wave of AI tools happening? I can't believe how fast it's all happening. Let me know if you're interested in connecting. But I'm like, what's going on at Time on Target? And that's why I replied back. I'm like, what things are going on at Time on Target? And I haven't heard back from them. Like, it was a web designer. So
my favorite thing right now is the number of people on Threads that are like, on Monday, I'm going to run a workshop on what's the best thread strategy that you can do to 10x your Threads followers. I'm like, motherfucker, the shit just came the fuck out.
2 days old.
Everybody wants to be at the top, right?
Right.
They want to be the first guy to do all those. Hey, I can help you.
Right. There's no strategy here. Fucking post, comment, engage, fucking rinse, wash, repeat. Friggin'
Shit. Back to how many of those social media kind of things can you really deal with on a regular basis?
I like Threads. I'm not gonna lie. I'm having a lot of fun because I don't have to think about it. For me, Threads is just about throwing out general thoughts at the moment. I really don't have a game plan, but Alex Hormozi put out a fascinating fucking kind of an overall strategy how he looks at social media, but he was doing it with Twitter. And what he says he does, now granted, Alex has got a huge following, is that he puts out a thought, kind of testing it on Twitter. And if it gets a lot of traction and feedback, that will become some sort of short form content. If that short form content really hits, that'll become his longer form content. So I'm like, that's a really cool way to look at it. So I'm now trying to put out threads, just general thoughts and ideas, and seeing if people start picking up on them and engaging with them. And it's slowly working. I just don't have the massive following he does to have all that happen.
It's Deep Thoughts with Donnie Boivin.
Yeah. what
happened to Jack Andy?
Jack Andy. That shit was so funny.
Lord. Hey, did y'all talk about, did you listen to podcast this week?
We did. All right, Kevin. I gave you
a video game.
Right? Kevin, I gave you the world's longest podcast ever.
I always look at these like 4, 5, 6, 7 minute ones. I'm like, oh, there can't be any content in there. So I always pass over them for trying to find one that's like at least 20 minutes to send you. But this one was actually had a ton of stuff in it for.
I'm telling you, I've never listened to what is her name? It's
Leila Hormozi.
Yeah, it's Alex Hormozi's wife.
I was going to assume that's who it was.
Yeah. But fuck, she puts out some killer content. I must have listened to 4 or 5 of her episodes because they're all short as fuck. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I like this gal.
Yeah. So freaking, it was good. What'd you like about it?
It was an interesting breakdown of the two roles at the head of a company. What we've been calling the visionary and the integrator. She calls the visionary and the operator. It was interesting in the how she kind of broke down not just kind of what they're supposed to do, but the relationship between them, which I thought was interesting. The bottleneck or filter. But then also the kind of the gaps they're supposed to fill for each other.
Yeah, I really like the bottleneck idea, and is the operator allowing the business to actually fucking grow or slow it down? I loved the idea of the operator being the person that puts the team together and brings all those people together. And because she was like, most times your kind of visionary out front is rough around the edges, kind of an asshole, very hard to work with type of person. So the operator has got to be the person that is the leader. It's got to be the one that is interacting, engaging with the people. It's got to be kind of the interpreter of the visionary, to everybody, and it's got to be the one that's keeping the entire team and everybody together and being that buffer between the visionary and the rest of the people because of that rough around the edges, idea. So for fucking 4-minute damn podcast, I was like, holy fuck. And that was the first episode of hers I've listened to that I literally went and listened to 4 or 5 episodes afterwards. Good morning, Jennifer J. Pretty freaking impressive overall. Donnie's self-describing is interesting.
I wasn't going to say anything, Jen, but
hey, I know exactly where I stand. I know exactly who I am, and this is why I surround myself with amazing people because, well, let's be honest, I am not everybody's cup of tea, but I am somebody's shot of whiskey. So, so can you drop the podcast link in chat? Yep, I will come over to LinkedIn because I don't think it will post straight from here to do that. So, but I am on it to right now over on LinkedIn. We'll post that link. So there you go. So though then Kevin gave me one that was actually a pretty good episode. I took notes on my phone on that one. Bear with me.
For some reason I can't share it in comments.
Harlow, they call it peanut butter whiskey because they can't call it asshole whiskey.
So too funny. So Kevin's episode that he gave me, what the hell was it called? Oops, open. It was called 5, 4, 3, 2. What the fuck? Nope, that is pulling up the Hermosi episode.
We told you on this morning.
It was. Oh no, that build out the Hermosi one too. What the hell?
Kevin doesn't know which one he sent. Donnie doesn't know which one he got, but we'll get to it here in a few seconds.
Right.
We got this thing.
Not Another Marketing Podcast with Ali Schwank. That's the name. And she was talking a lot about marketing automation. And I got to admit, she was talking about automation from a perspective I haven't heard a lot of people talk about automation. It was not like when she was talking about AI, it wasn't, finding copy and the likes. They're using AI in their automation to like remove people from email lists, pull out redundant efforts and people who haven't engaged and the likes. It was pretty fascinating overall listening to her talk about the different things. Their primary use of automation is not on outbound. It's on once they become a client. which I thought is fascinating, of all the systems and things that they're automating once they're already in and doing business with somebody, and maybe really think, okay, I mean, we do a lot of automation in that regard. I think Kevin once told me we have like 150 automations going for the company all together with Zaps and the likes. But it made me also think about, okay, cool, where do we need to, add automation that we're not currently having it? Where do we need to add more of it in the business? And then the other idea was knowing the season of the client, which is kind of where are we at with that client story, because it may be when we first engaged with them, their business wasn't in a position to do business with us, but as their business has grown and things have changed, now they need us. How do we determine what season they're in so we know when to engage with them? I thought I was pretty fascinated overall with that episode.
Yeah, I liked the one stat that stood out to me towards the beginning was that it takes 5 times as many touches for a B2B sale now than it did in 2016.
Isn't that crazy?
And it can't just be, we're just going to follow up. If we're going to reach out 15 times and say, hey, are you ready to buy yet? It can't be those types of touches either. Is one of the things she said about it. So that's just nuts. That's a lot of interaction.
Yeah, I mean, and the ability to think about what are all those different touch points, because I think often people are like, okay, a touch is I emailed them, over and over and over again, and it goes back old school. I mean, you got to call, email, social media, engage, all these different things, and it's how often are you actively, reaching out to people, having those kind of conversations, that determines how often you need to actually be touching them. Anybody else, is it just me hates the phrase touching them? Because I feel like
every time you say it, I'm like shiver just a little bit. I'm like, oh
yeah, I thought he'd either get you put in jail or get you to be the president of the United States. I don't know which.
Wow. Wow.
Wow. Mic drop.
Wow.
Anyway,
Holy
right along.
Oh, but it was a good episode, and I will go back to freaking. I'm impressed with Miss Hermosi and her content. I've yet to find an episode of hers where I'm like, eh. I mean, every one of her episodes, as short as they are, have been pretty wild indeed. So, all right. Well, I'm not sure where Greg is this morning, so we were supposed to have Greg Birch on with us, but that's all right. We'll keep rocking and rolling. And let's talk about crazy shit that's happening in the news, in the media, on threads and the likes. And one of my biggest kind of pet peeves that I'm having right now is not just the people that are trying to do these threads workshops and the likes, but the people that are coming out like this guy. And I just put, what the fuck, you're an idiot on threads. That was literally my reply to him. But he's like, if you're not hustling and grinding, you're not actually trying to build anything. And so my first post on LinkedIn today was like, if you have to hustle and grind, odds are you just don't like what the fuck you're doing. Because here's the thing, you got to build a business around the lifestyle you want to live, not become chained to your freaking job, not become chained to your freaking company. You've got to be able to build something and let your hair down a little bit. And these hustle and grind guys are driving me fucking bonkers. It's like you got to fucking work 20 hours a day type of thing. And we're doing all right. And we're not working 20-hour fucking days. I mean, we're usually done. Well, Kevin works longer than all of us. That's just because he's slow at building shit. But what about you guys? What's driving you guys nuts out there?
Just the news in general. I'm not joking. Do yourself a favor. Like, I just pulled up, I don't know what I have, Microsoft Bing or whatever, when you pull it up and like I'm reading the highlights of the news. All this bullshit is talking about all this stuff that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Absolutely crap. This is why
Yep.
this is why I don't watch the news or don't go through all that stuff and everything else. But when you said that the news, I like just opened up like Yahoo page or whatever, and it's like all this 30 stories are like, who gives a shit?
Look at this, Kevin. Hold on. Poor Kevin. Hey, get off my Kevin.
Oh my
Everybody is
gosh,
coming.
Kevin's got a
my
fan club this
Lord.
morning.
Oh,
Hashtag Team Kevin has always been a bigger organization than hashtag Team Donnie. Just saying.
Oh
So
my god.
we're gonna definitely have to get those shirts for Summit, But yeah, dude, news in general. I haven't watched the news in forever, and it's funny. People know how much I hate the news. That if I walk into somebody's house and the news is on, they will literally change the channel as soon as I walk in because they're about to get an earful. I just fucking hate it. There's no point in watching it. There was a Harvard study done once upon a time. I should get the freaking link that showed it was like 37 negative stories before a positive story comes out on the news.
easily.
It's why put yourself through all that negativity and crap? And they've got to do the negative stuff because that's what gets people to tune in. It's like, even for me, the only time I would ever turn on the news is really bad weather situation. If I like, there's tornadoes coming through, and even then, the weather guy will be like, "Oh my God, we're gonna die. There's gonna be a quarter inch of snow," and they're so over the top with even the weather. I'm like, fuck me, I just can't turn it on.
Looks like the Supreme Court did all those rulings a few weeks ago. They're still talking about it like it happened yesterday and like it's the worst thing in the entire world. It's just
What's awesome about that Morris is I
You don't
literally have
know.
no fucking clue what you're talking about.
It's only actually been a week, Morris. So
Oh, really?
Well, they're
Yeah,
still talking
I
about that propane tank with the PlayStation controller that went down into the water,
I don't know about that
right?
either.
The submarine.
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah,
submarine
yeah.
that went down.
Oh, the billionaire submarine.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're still talking about that. That was it almost a month old.
no.
Well, it may have only been a week, Donnie, but it feels like a month.
Yeah, 'cause I was literally listening to the news when I drive home. I was heading home for a wedding, and I was listening to it. And they did the initial announcement with one story, which gave actual really good insights into what the ruling actually was and what it limited and what it didn't impact. But as the day went on, the coverage changed dramatically from to where it was just this real niche ruling that only affected certain types of situations, to where now anyone can discriminate. I'm like, that's literally not what it said. I'm like that, no. And it was that just gets frustrating because you can tell when it's just literally becoming propaganda.
Yeah, I was watching who's the guy who owns the UFC or runs the UFC? Dana.
Dana White.
Yeah, I was listening to Dana White, and they were interviewing him. They're like talking about two fighters, and he's like, "Are you upset over all the racial tension between these two fighters?" He's like, "What racial tension?" He's like, "Well, the one guy uses the N-word all the time," and Dana goes, "He's black. Of course he uses the N-word." And they're like, "But you don't care about that." He goes, "What racial tension are you talking about?" And they're like, "Well, he keeps using," and Dana's like, "They're fighters. They're going to talk shit. No, I don't care about it. Quit making something out of nothing." And I just wish more people would be that way. But everybody's looking, well, not everybody, but the news in general is always looking for what's that angle that we can
not only the angle, but they don't give you the full story.
Right. They give you their agenda.
They condense everything to make it scarier and more frightful than anything else. When you hear the whole story, it's like, oh, that wasn't that bad.
Right.
It was just taken out of context.
And that's really most things. And you just said it's just taken out of context.
Yeah.
And it's whatever portion of the story. So it's like when I hear something, a news story, and they're like, oh, the Republicans are doing this, the Democrats are doing this, I instantly will, if I'm dumb enough to go down a rabbit hole, I will instantly go and try and find the other side of the story, because there's two views, and somewhere along the line the world said you got to draw a line in the sand. You can only think this fucking way. No, there's two sides to the damn story. Go figure out both
and
sides.
that's the problem with watching specific kind of news brands, right? Some go so far to the left you can't stand it. Some so go far to the right you can't stand it.
Yep.
Where's the one that goes right down the middle and just gives us? Remember Walter Cronkite? Where the hell's that guy at?
Yeah.
Just give us the goddamn news.
It's friggin' wild to me. It's Super Dave. If you guys aren't following him on TikTok and stuff, you should be. Him and his boy do a pretty cool TikTok channel. But at the end of the day, I don't know. There's just not a one size fits all media outlet there. And let's be honest, the media's only job is to get people elected. And so that's why they become so fucking political. And the only people that are listening to the news or watching the news are Morris's age anyways. So they know their audience.
But has it really changed? I mean, you think about back in 100 years ago, it was the guys that owned the newspapers that were setting the agenda and doing the things they did. And it was the TV world and the radio world. The guys that owned those media outlets were the ones that were saying, this is how we're gonna do this. So I don't know. I don't think it necessarily has changed a lot, except that there are a lot more places for it to be delivered now.
Here's what's changed, right? Back when it was newspapers, it was whoever had the best headline sold the most papers, increased their profits. Now it's whoever reports it first.
Yes.
Nobody cares if it's right. Doesn't have to be right. And they don't have to apologize for getting it wrong, right? Yeah. It's just who can report something first, whether it's correct or not.
Yep.
Well, that's where we've gone wrong.
I loved a weatherman that I don't know who sent me the TikTok, but they sent it to me as this weatherman, doing the forecast coming up, and he goes, "I'm 100% sure I'm 100% wrong." But I'm gonna report the weather anyway. I'm like, finally, somebody honest in the fucking news, weather, whatever else.
I love it.
We need more of that, not the rest of the shit that we get,
right,
on a regular basis. Christ,
it's incredible, absolutely incredible. Well, I know the truth, and I just wanted y'all to know that. I know the truth, whether y'all do or not.
Well, I mean, Morris was around when they invented the printing press, so that makes sense.
It's funny, Morris.
Gutenberg and I are just like that.
Yeah. You know the truth, but do you think the audience would know the truth?
I doubt it.
So
let's test them.
We have an opportunity. So if one of y'all that is watching want to come join us on here, we can bring you up on camera, invite you in here, and we are going to play a game. What the hell is the game called?
To tell the truth.
To tell the truth. Tell them how it works, guys. So we need one of y'all to come join us if you want to.
All right, so we need one player to come in. We are going to each claim to have done something, and you are going to get to ask us some questions and determine which of us actually did the thing. Super easy.
Who'd we get to come
all
in?
Of us.
Oh, I just put out a link for anybody that wants to join us. So that's brave as hell that you can grab that link. Join us up here. All you got to do is click on that link. We'll get notified that you popped in here. We just need one brave soul to freaking jump up here with us.
And listen, if you win, you get a free 8x10 of me and Morris.
I'm here if no one else volunteers. Nicole, grab that freaking link and jump in.
Come on.
So that'll pull you in, Nicole.
Keith, are you still passing out the Burt Reynolds pose pictures to everyone?
Yeah. If they believe it's me, then whatever.
Wait, the Burt Reynolds. Oh, the one where he's like naked with a bear rug.
I do the Costanza one. He's stretched out.
Hold on, I'm trying to get Nicole up.
George
here.
Costanza. That was the best pose ever.
Leave it to Kevin to. It's coming. So Nicole, the link is coming to you in LinkedIn Messenger. I'll give it because there's a little bit of delays, but we'll get her up here to do that as soon as
I swear it's coming. I swear.
So we're gonna probably have to set people up like before this to come join us on the show to get them, in as part of the process.
Yep.
So So Nicole, if you see it, check your LinkedIn Messenger, and that'll click on that link.
No, we just lost Keith.
Oh, we did lose Keith. So, all right.
Sorry.
Well, let's do it. We'll do it with the four of us, and then in the comments they can, drop a comment or who they think is.
If you guys have a question for someone specific after they tell the story, ask it in the comments.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So why don't you start?
Morris, you're up.
Oh, who, me? I'm sorry.
Yep.
Wake up, Sims. What?
Why don't you start us off?
You got it. I hiked Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale, Arizona.
I'm Kevin, and I climbed Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale, Arizona.
My name's Keith, and I hiked Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale, Arizona.
And I'm Donnie, and I climbed Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale, Arizona. So, Nicole, each one of us said the phrase, I climbed Camelback Mountain in Scottsdale, Arizona. Your job is to figure out who actually did it and who are the liars in this. So you get to ask us questions about that, and the likes to figure out who is telling the truth and who is lying.
What time of year was this hunting taking place?
Who are you asking?
Oh, it wasn't a hunt. It was a climb.
Oh, all right. What time of year was this climb taking place, Morris?
It was in the almost springtime. It was a business trip.
Okay. And what was the temperature of the hike, Keith?
It was, for me, it was in the dead of summer, and it was 99 plus degrees, and I took one bottle of water with me on the entire trip. Miserable.
So now I'm supposed to determine.
Yep, keep asking around.
You can ask as many questions as you want.
Was there anyone else on this hike, Kevin?
Yeah, I went. I was down in Arizona for an Army school, and me and some of my classmates had a weekend off, and we went and did it together. So there were four of us all together that did it.
What time of day did this hike take place, Donnie?
It was right around lunch. We were idiots and decided that we were going to go on a freaking whim and just go out and do this stupid ass hike. No planning, no anything. We just left and went.
Well, I really feel like Donnie answered that with no hesitation. Everyone else was kind of like fluttering a little bit.
Are you saying Morris is too old? I'm too fat? And Kevin
No.
didn't do
No,
Is that what you said?
I would have to say that if it was true, that would have been Donnie that did it.
Man, I am good at this fucking game. I should play this game more often. So take me out of the mix because it's not me. So it means it's one of those three. So keep asking until you figure it out, Nicole.
Okay. Morris, what did you wear on this hike?
I had a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, and luckily I had a hat, but it wasn't a very good hat.
And Keith, real quick, what were you wearing on this hike?
Cargo shorts and a t-shirt.
Kevin, did you pack any food for this hike?
No, we didn't, but we did take along some water, and it took us about 3 hours to do. So,
Kevin, did you go on this hike?
no, did not.
She just asked him straight up.
He's like, wait, it's still down to the fat guy and the old guy.
Wait, that's right.
I'm going to say that Keith went on this hike. Am I wrong
see.
again?
Can
you guys see the pictures?
I got it coming. Oops.
Not yet.
Coming. There you are.
Coming? All right. the dead of July in August, one bottle of water, me and a friend hiked to the top of Camelback Mountain like idiots and just about died of dehydration.
Wow. Well, congratulations.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, if it requires that much energy and effort, just assume I'm out.
I can tell you now that getting up there was not as difficult as it was coming down, and the reason is your legs are jello because you're climbing so much. You don't realize how much energy you're exerting, and when you start coming down, like your legs are just jello, and it was very difficult coming down that mountain.
So one of my mentors, when I was doing Sandler training and selling that, he did one of the 600-mile walks in like Europe or somewhere, and it's 600 miles. And one of the things that he said that he would tell anybody to do, it goes, first, get a walking stick. You don't understand how much a walking stick takes the pressure off your back. And then he wasn't a spring chicken. I mean, he was in his 60s when he did this. And the second thing he said was the downhills are 10 times worse than the uphills because, and from, doing hikes, which we called humps in the Marine Corps, I can tell you going up Mount Motherfucker was one thing. Coming, and that's really a freaking mountain in freaking Camp Pendleton, California. Coming down Mount Motherfucker, there's a reason they call it Mount Motherfucker because it is a bitch. My freaking shins were so on fire, and I broke both feet 10 feet from the summit of that hike, and had like 12 miles still to hike back home. So one of the reasons I spent 6 months in Marine Corps boot camp is I fractured my right foot and stress fractured my left foot, all in the hike. By the time I got back from that hike, the corpsman had to cut my boots off so they could inspect my feet to figure out what was actually wrong with me. Because, I was still going, and they're like, something's not right because I wasn't keeping up like I was. And so they made me sit on my ass and they cut my boots off. Oh, yeah. Freaking sitting in boot camp with 2 moon boots on, those damn hard plastic Velcro like cast boots. That was me for 3 months of my boot camp journey.
How many of you guys would have broken both feet and continued and then gone through rehab and then go back and said, hey, can I do it again?
I didn't say I was a smart motherfucker.
I did my final 15-kilometer ruck march with 102 fever because I didn't want to get recycled. I wanted to get out. I had gotten bit by a spider and had a staph infection all down my arm. And I'm like, screw this. I do not want to stick around here. I want to go home. So.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's always a question of what are the consequences of doing it or not doing it. Well,
yep.
Yeah. Friggin', and the same, not as bad. I didn't get a staph infection, but I caught cellulitis the first time in Marine Corps boot camp, and I still got the scar from it, from blisters on my boots. I had these red lines running all the way up my knee because my cellulitis was getting so bad. And they recycled me for it. So when I got in a fight with the drill instructor and lost badly. So I was put in MRP twice in boot camp, medical rehabilitation platoon. So I ended up, I was part of 3 platoon. Well, traditionally when somebody hits boot camp, you hit 1 platoon and you go the whole spell. I was in 3 different platoons because of getting hurt. So in boot camp. So
you were the guy in the movie, The Officer and the Gentleman, who got in the ring with the DI and got himself killed.
Yeah.
Is that Richard Gere, right?
Yeah, Richard Gere. Who was the DI? Who was the DI?
I don't remember, but that's a great
guy
movie.
from Iron Angel.
Yeah.
Oh, the black guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. He's what is God? He's such a great actor. Oh God, I can see his face.
Vern Gosselin.
Oh no, it's something Gosling.
Something like that. Yeah.
God,
anyhow, I'm surprised somebody hadn't told us in the comments just who that person is. But hey, that's okay.
I think that you guys could do an entire segment on military stories.
Oh
my gosh,
we could.
We could do an entire segment on people that dress up and do, what do they call that? The stealing the valor.
Stolen valor.
Stolen valor. So I've seen so many great TikToks on these people that have all these ribbons and stuff down their shirt, and the thing's not buttoned up right. They're like, "I was special forces," and dang, 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 dang.
I saw this one the other day, and the guy's got this freaking made up badge, and he's trying to explain. He's like, "This is higher than the SEALs. You know, I can tell you about it because I'm wearing it, so you can actually hear about the special force." This dude has shit on his right side, his left side down, like ribbons on it. I'm like, holy Jesus.
He's probably from Alabama.
Probably. Yeah. I watched G.I. Jane for the third or fourth time this weekend, and it was amazing. I thought it was SEALs training until my son got home and he said, "No, Dad, that's made up. SEALs training is probably 10 times worse than that and harder than that." But
you can just go on YouTube and actually watch the SEALs training. When I stayed at that resort out in San Diego, on the beach back, that's the oldest wooden hotel west of the Mississippi. You can actually watch the SEALs train, and when they do their running in the morning, it's called the Del Coronado Resort.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right there on Coronado Beach.
I can tell you, Marine Corps boot camp has no comparison whatever to SEALs training, and SEALs training is 10 times.
Louis Gossett Jr.
Louis Gossett.
Louis
That's
Gossett.
it. God, that guy was so awesome. But the one thing that I will say, it's similar to SEAL training, which is 10 times tougher than Marine Corps boot camp, is MCRD San Diego is right next to San Diego Airport. So the entire time you're training, you're watching people coming in on vacation, leaving, you know, so you're watching life happen.
all that airplane fuel and smoke, right there in your lungs while you're running.
It's fucking miserable. I actually went back to MCRD San Diego once upon a time, and when you're there, you're kind of got your head down, you're doing the thing. Man, that base is so fucking tiny. I had no idea how small that base actually was to do the, you know, boot camp until I went back and drove through. But even driving through the gates and seeing the yellow footprints of that boot camp, just it chills up my entire fucking body. Just creepy. So, all right. So upcoming this week, I got you, Morris. Upcoming this week, we have Hannah Chapman coming in to teach Becoming a Champion. She'll be there on Thursday talking about rethinking finance. And if you have not heard Hannah talk about your money stories, drop it in, man, because this shit is off the chain.
Made me rethink the whole thing. I suddenly realized how come I do what I do.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Hannah just has a way of speaking about money that I've never seen anybody else do. Kevin will be teaching Rethinking How You Communicate on the 20th. Then Monica Tuck is coming in to talk about branding on the 27th and how to rethink when you think about branding as a whole. We've got some special workshops coming up at the end of the month as we continue to put some really cool things together. So I'm going to be teaching a workshop coming up called Don't Build Your Business Alone. That's going to be just completely dialed in to your company. And then September 20th through the 23rd here in Fort Worth, Texas, Badass Business Summit. Guys, we only have a couple of VIP tickets left on that. Where the regular tickets are starting to really move fast. So if you are looking to be in the right room and network with a bunch of the right fucking people and just get after it, Badass Business Summit, September 20th through the 23rd in Fort Worth, Texas. Friggin' get your butts here. It is going to be a good time. Go to badassbusinesssummit.com to get your tickets, and we'll see you there. Any other announcement, boys?
That's my big one is the Badass Business Summit. I'm looking forward to that.
So, going to be an amazing time and a good coming together. So with that, as my dogs try and tell me it's time for them to go out, Morris, let's take us out of here.
Y'all have a great week. Enjoy yourselves. Have a good time. We'll see you again next week right here on Growth Mode Live with Donnie, Kevin, and Keith. Take care.